I didn't make a mistake. That's what Donald said when pressed by reporters about his posting an AI generated video that depicted Barack and Michelle Obama as apes, which any sentient human in America should know is a horrifically racist trope, harkening back to the days of the slave trade. I didn't make a mistake. A few years ago, probably 10, I was hanging out with my Aunt Marianne, Donald's older sister, and she said something I didn't actually know. She told me something about my grandfather. My grandfather never took responsibility for anything that went wrong. He never took responsibility for any mistakes. And he passed that down to Donald, clearly. And we've seen this time and time again. Donald does something outrageous. He does something ill-advised. He does something wrong. He makes a mistake and refuses to admit it. And we saw the same pattern here, right? He deflects blame. He has his underlings first come out in full force to defend him. Resident Nazi Caroline Levitt actually told White House reporters that they should turn down their fake outrage about this horrific racism that the president of the United States of America engaged in. And then, of course, there was the fact that the video was taken down from Donald's account, his social media account. But then came the doubling down, which is always where we end up, in which he said, I did make a mistake, which tells us what exactly? It tells us that he co-signs the content of that vile, disqualifying video he reposted. I believe it was on Twitter, somebody wrote, I'm paraphrasing, if this had happened in any other country, it would have been a constitutional crisis. There would have been emergency meetings. There would have been a very concerted push to remove the leader who did something that despicable from office. I believe Donald posted that video on Thursday. It is now Monday. And guess what? It's as if it's never happened at all. Because this is America now. I mean, quite frankly, this has been this country's relationship to this grotesque person for years now. It's all baked in. That's what we've been told. We've been told this by banks, the media, the Republican Party. It's just who he is. Okay, fine. But if that's who he is, why the fuck would we give him power? And yet, we do. Increasingly, 78 million people almost voted for him in 2024, knowing everything we now know. The corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court continues to grant him a near imperial presidency, almost ensuring that Donald Trump will never be held accountable for anything. So why would we think that he would be held accountable for something so viciously and openly racist? Knowing that by allowing this to go unchecked, it will put people of color, especially Black Americans, in danger. So he is. It's all baked in. By the same token, we have House Republicans forcing, or at least attempting to force, Hillary Clinton to testify in front of Congress. Last I checked, Hillary Clinton is not mentioned in the Epstein files. Bill Clinton may be. Hillary Clinton is not. You know who is? Donald. Do you know how many times? And remember, only about half of the 6 million documents have been made public. Donald Trump's name appears over 30,000 times in the Epstein files. And yet somehow Hillary Clinton is being compelled to testify. If we don't start to see the double standards and the impossibility of maintaining a constitutional government, if we continue to give a pass to the person most responsible for trying to destroy it, I'm not entirely sure where this goes. But this is important. There are so many off-ramps that Donald has given his own party to get rid of him that have absolutely nothing to do with his designs on turning America into a fascist authoritarian state. That may be what Republicans want for America, but do they really, really want the leader of that movement to be a racist protector of a rapist and sex trafficker of teenage girls and young women? Right now, the answer would appear to be yes. So let us please be outraged by that, and let us hang on to that outrage, stoke it, and spread it so that when we have the opportunity to get these people out of our government, we will show up in a way we've never seen before. Let's dive in. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Marriage Up Live. I am under the weather. I apologize in advance. Day one, so it's going to be an interesting week. But please bear with me, and let's get going. As I mentioned, Bill and Hillary Clinton are being told that they must show up to testify in front of Congress, but they are urging Congress to hold their testimony about Jeffrey Epstein in public, because understandably, they're arguing that closed-door depositions would allow Republicans to politicize the issue. Remember, they actually politicized it when Hillary Clinton testified in public for 11 hours about Benghazi. Like, we never heard the end of that one. So imagine if their depositions happened behind closed doors, what Republicans would do to use that testimony in a way that we certainly should not trust. Both Clintons were offered to give private testimony to the House Oversight Committee, which is examining Epstein's ties to powerful figures, except, of course, Donald, and how information about his crimes was handled. Republicans had threatened contempt votes if the Clintons refused to appear, but the couple has agreed, finally. On Friday, Bill Clinton posted the following message, quote, "I will not sit idly as they use me as a prop in a closed-door kangaroo court by a Republican Party running scared. If they want answers, let's stop the games and do this the right way in a public hearing where the American people can see for themselves what this is really about," unquote. Now, Bill Clinton's name does appear in the Epstein files, from what I understand. And I don't know. I know nothing. This is my position. If it can be shown that you were complicit in or took part in Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes, then you deserve whatever you get. That's my position. As far as I'm aware, there's no proof that Bill Clinton was involved in any of that. However, Jeffrey Epstein gave a lot of money to the Clinton Foundation. That is how Jeffrey Epstein found his way into the upper echelons of society. He wooed people in universities and in political organizations with his money to have access and to get a foothold so he could be seen as a respectable power broker. He used a lot of people this way. Were all of them innocent? I don't know. Probably not. Were some of them? Maybe. I don't know. We don't have all the files. So how could we possibly determine this? And of course, Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, has said that no, he has no interest in going after the predator because that is Donald Trump's DOJ. Also, I don't know Bill Clinton. I don't know him at all. But we do know, based on the public record, that he has had dalliances and he has had extramarital relationships with women, some of them younger than he is. Do we really think that he would eat somebody like Jeffrey Epstein? Because remember, at one time, Bill Clinton was the most powerful person on the planet. To set him up? I think not. But again, I don't know. Clearly, Bill Clinton seems unconcerned about anything House Republicans have to ask him. Hillary Clinton said that she and her husband had already told the committee what they already knew and challenged lawmakers to make the process public as well. While Bill Clinton appears in recently released Epstein files, no evidence is implicated either, as I said. Bill Clinton has acknowledged flying around on Epstein's plane for foundation work, but says he never visited Epstein's private island. And of course, again, if he had, there are flight logs that would prove such a thing. Hillary Clinton, also, to repeat, because it's important, I think, to emphasize these things, says she had no meaningful contact with Epstein at all. And if she had, well, I'm pretty sure that would have shown up in one of those 6 million documents. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, the one who's been treated with kid gloves by Todd Blanche and the rest of the DOJ, the one who was transferred to a minimum security prison where she has more privileges than any other prisoner, despite the fact that she was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the rape and sex trafficking of teenage girls and young women. She's refused to answer any questions this morning during a closed-door deposition with the House Oversight Committee. She appeared virtually from the aforementioned very cushy Texas prison where she's serving a 20-year sentence. Committee Chair James Comer said Maxwell pleaded the Fifth Amendment, declining to testify as expected, and said that the outcome is, quote, obviously very disappointing, unquote, which I think may be one of the most disingenuous things I've ever heard in my life, because James Comer, after the deal Donald's DOJ gave Maxwell, do you seriously think she's going to give any damning information about anybody if it interferes with her ability to get a pardon from Donald? Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, posted this message, quote, if this committee and the American public truly want to hear the unfiltered truth about what happened, there is a straightforward path. Ms. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by Donald, unquote. Okay. Yes, because who could be more deserving of clemency than a rapist and sex trafficker of girls and young women? And let us not forget, why does she think that that's even a possibility? Because clearly Donald's DOJ, in the person of Todd Blanche, has told her that that's a possibility. After the virtual deposition, Representative Melania Stansbury called out Republican Andy Biggs for delivering Maxwell's clemency request to Donald. Watch this.
Do you have anything to add, Andy?
I'll just add one thing, that the attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing. And that's one thing they said in his opening statement to us today.
But the fact that Andy Biggs walked out of that room and delivered the message that Ghislaine Maxwell wanted was exactly what she wanted to send to Donald Trump. Clearly, he was acting as her messenger, because we were told explicitly to not repeat things that were said in that room. It's very clear she's campaigning for clemency, and it's very clear that Mr. Biggs delivered the message to Donald Trump.
That's right, Donald. Ghislaine Maxwell will continue to say that you had nothing to do with anything if you grant her clemency. And of course, her connecting Donald with Bill Clinton is also intentional. Just another reminder that the Republicans in Congress are among the worst people of the planet, who care nothing about the well-being of the American people or the future of this country. They care only about their own petty power and helping Donald, regardless of what he may be guilty of. Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett also had something to say. Take a look at this.
I don't really know where we are in this country. Why are we even having this conversation? The United States is falling apart right now, partially because he's going out and randomly allowing for the killings of people in the middle of the street. But the other part of it is that we have a 34-count convicted felon, and there are people that are still shielding him from any type of accountability as it relates to a child sex trafficking ring. It is time to take the blinders off. Like, I don't understand why we are pretending like any of this is normal. And I think that that is the level of frustration that so many people are bringing, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, specifically to the Epstein file situation. Because right now we know that they were willing to try to throw the Clintons in prison for not showing up, yet they won't even allow us to bring other people into committee who we know are mentioned in these files and mentioned so much more. When we went through the hearing as relates to the Clintons, I said, listen, we know that Donald Trump's name is mentioned more. Bring him in too. Like, I'm not saying that this should be partisan. This should be whoever. I want to be clear about that. This, for the Democrats, this isn't partisanship. This is about right versus wrong.
Yes, this is about finding out who, if anybody, mentioned the files, some of them thousands of times, and I don't know, in some cases 38,000 times, is held accountable. But Representative Crockett makes a very good point. We are living in a country that is led by a man who was convicted of 34 felony counts. He's an adjudicated rapist. He was under investigation, preparing to be tried for over 90 indictments related to inciting an insurrection against his own government and stealing sensitive, highly classified documents from the American people. And this is yet one more horrific, potentially, thing to be allowed because the Republican Party is allowing it. Turning to Tulsi Gabbard, who should be in a lot of trouble, just like her boss. Last spring, the National Security Agency intercepted a sensitive phone call between two people connected to foreign intelligence who discussed someone close to Donald, according to a whistleblower's attorney. The intelligence was flagged as unusual and brought to the attention of aforementioned Director of National Intelligence, Gabbard. Instead of allowing the NSA to circulate the report through normal channels, Gabbard personally took a paper copy to White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and later instructed the NSA not to publish the report formally. A whistleblower then filed a complaint alleging Gabbard improperly blocked the intelligence from being shared with Congress. Lawmakers, particularly Democrats, have raised concerns about the long 8-month delay in sharing the complaint with Congress and have been considering whether it was intentionally buried. The contents of the underlying intelligence remain largely unknown, and members of congressional intelligence committees are now seeking the original NSA materials directly, therefore bypassing Gabbard's office. But Virginia Senator Mark Warner has more questions for Tulsi Gabbard, including, for one, why was she at the Georgia election office raid? Here's some of Warner's comments from yesterday's Face the Nation broadcast. Let's watch.
There's been no communication with the committee whatsoever on this issue?
We have asked.
Okay.
We then subsequently found that this was not the first time she was involved in domestic activities. She went down and seized some voting machines in Puerto Rico earlier in the year. Again, we had no knowledge of that. And then the question of what she was doing in Georgia, there's been 3 or 4 different stories since it broke. First, she said the president asked, then the president said he didn't ask her, then he said it was Pam Bondi, the attorney general. So we don't have the slightest idea, other than the fact that the whole thing stinks to high heaven. And the fact is, Donald Trump cannot get over the fact that he lost Georgia in 2020, that he lost the election in 2020. My fear is now he sees the political winds turning against him, and he's going to try to interfere in the 2026 elections, something that a year ago I didn't think would be possible.
Well, okay, let's leave aside for the moment the fact that a year ago people didn't think what in my view has been inevitable since 2020. You know, thanks for catching up, I guess. But this is exactly what we should be expecting here. Cover-ups, election interference, doing whatever the Republicans think is necessary to interfere with or stop the midterm elections. Let's be prepared. I think at the very least, even if we think that that's, insane and never going to happen, can we please? What is that expression? Expect the best, prepare for the worst. Something like that. Let's do that. Some more good news in terms of elections. Louisiana Democrat Chastity Verrett Martinez won a state house special election in Louisiana on Saturday by double digits in a district Donald carried by 13 points in 2024. Martinez defeated Republican Brad Daigle 62% to 38%, according to unofficial results from the Louisiana Secretary of State. That is very similar to what happened in a district in Texas for a House race, when a Democrat won a district by 14 points that Donald had won in 2024 by 17 points. Like, these are massive swings that do portend a wave election in the midterms. This election followed the appointment of the district's former Democratic representative to a state post by Republican Governor Jeff Landry. While Democrats already held the seat, Republicans viewed it as a prime pickup after Donald won the district 3 times. Instead, Martinez delivered a 37-point swing for the 2024 results, despite being outspent by Republicans 3-1. Her victory comes days after a Democratic flip in Texas that I just mentioned. And again, I believe this is part of a broader trend. Republicans have yet to gain a legislative seat in special elections during Democrats' second term. Sorry. This is where my being under the weather kicks in a little bit. So I apologize. Let me try that again. Republicans have yet to gain a legislative seat in special elections during Donald's second term, while Democrats have flipped 8 GOP-held districts. The Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee said Republicans, quote, squandered their first flip opportunity in an election, and they should have had it in the bag, unquote. Well, maybe they should have had it in the bag. Maybe. But this is the thing that Republicans seem not to understand. Donald is on the ballot in every single election, whether he denies that or not, whether they deny it or not. So people aren't voting simply for the Democrats. They are voting to reject wholesale everything Donald Trump and his corrupt fascist party represent. There are some warning signs in addition to these special elections that we've recently had. Nevada Republican Mark Amodei has announced he won't run for re-election, making him the 30th House Republican to step aside ahead of the midterms. Amodei plays a key role on the House Appropriations Committee, including oversight of Homeland Security funding, which has become a flashpoint amid the partial shutdown and the looming February 13th deadline. He also made news after the January killing of Minneapolis ICU nurse Alex Preddy by federal immigration agents, saying immigration enforcement is, quote, not in a good place right now, unquote. Republicans are now retiring at a faster pace than Democrats in the House, with 21 Democrats so far announcing exits or seeking higher office bids. Historically, higher retirement numbers have been a strong indicator of which party is likely to lose control of the House after the election. Now, I think it's safe to say that what's happening with the Republicans is that they know, they see the writing on the wall. They are going to lose the majority in 2026. And it's no fun being in the minority party. However, if they cared at all about the future of this country, they would resign now. Resign now. Give the Democrats the majority. Let us do the work you refuse to do. Not going to happen. Which tells us everything we need to know about Republicans announcing their retirements now. Last I checked, it's Monday, which is kind of unfathomable. I think we need to rename the days of the week or something because, again, doesn't really feel like we had much of a weekend. Luckily, though, because we're us, well, first of all, we get to breathe. Whew. Secondly, we have our emotional support moment. Because once again, it feels like a whole week has passed. And we're just at the beginning of it. And I'm getting sick. So I want to take the next minute, slow things down, calm, and just imagine yourself somewhere where there's no stress and no fascism and nothing but beauty and kindness. Enjoy. I don't know about you, but those are never long enough. I'm going to need to talk to management about that, you know? All right. As I mentioned, I am under the weather, but it was wonderful to be here with you, even if briefly. Thanks to everybody watching on YouTube. Thanks to everybody streaming on Twitter and over at The Good in Us, and everybody listening to the podcast, to all of our new members, people gifting memberships, our super stickers, and people giving us donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To our moderators who keep this place awesome. And of course, to my team. And very quickly, I want to mention that as some of you know, on Friday, we had the world premiere of the great Nils Lofgren's protest anthem, No Kings, No Hate, No Fear. As some of you also may know, Nils and his wife Amy are two of my best friends on the planet. I admire them and value them more than I could possibly say. And I think Nils's song, it moves me, it motivates me, and I believe that if you listen to it repeatedly, it will, well, you'll understand what I mean. It is an anthem for our time. We need it. We really need it. I think it's something we can rally around. It's something that can make us feel hopeful. Here's the thing, though. We launched on Friday, as I mentioned, but we are being suppressed. There's no other way to get around it. I'm sorry if that sounds paranoid, but we are very clear that that's what's happening. We did a lot of promotion for this, and on YouTube, it did not break through at all. Now, I understand why that may be the case for us, but Nils's work deserves to be heard far and wide. So please go to nilslofgren.com, listen to this song, share it with everybody you know, because we need to figure out a way to get around the vice grip the far right pro-Donald factions have on our social media. Because social media is the modern day commons, and we deserve the right to be heard. That's not happening. So it's going to take a concerted, consistent effort. Again, please go to nilslofgren.com, download his song, No Hate, No Kings, No Fear, a street anthem for freedom's gladiators, and share it with everybody you know, please. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. Sorry I can't stick around, but again, I'm not feeling great. But I will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for everything you do, including going to nilslofgren.com to listen to Nels's song and share it and download it. Again, see you tomorrow night. In the meantime, please stay safe and be kind.